now that that's over and that's panned out, I think essentially what he's going for this project, it's an EP, it's an experiment, it's a test, and it's a very good experiment it's a very good timing for the experiments to do in order to make a very strong claim to the world, to the masses about his position, because the momentum that Chance Naham is having definitely fueled the energy or fueled the decision to drop this as soon as possible, because Chance has a very, very abstract, very non traditionally for the mainstream, this is not a formula, a movement that will work. But thanks to Ashake, that's kind of like slowly like reduce the tides in mainstream waves that would welcome a sound like this. Essentially, why Chance is picking up steam, and it's definitely being a good front for him. And I appreciate this direction creatively to make almost 4 more chances in terms of having abstract flows and deliveries on the song. My piano's still heavy. Crowd vocals, let's dial that shit up even to 100. I'm going to crowd vocal out anybody that wants to do crowd vocal. Like, wait, seeing how like he's gonna clear it with crowd vocals heavy on this record. But you can appreciate the heritage or the roots of Fuji. Very evident in what he's doing, and that Islamic run and tradition in terms of the soundscape from instrumentation of songs like Alaska. Definitely brilliant like depiction of his heritage there, and I really appreciated that song, especially because of the production. So again, he's given us a soundscape. He's given us a world of so many more chances, and even though seeing Chance work in some aspects now has given him the fuel and ginger to make this one almost thematically what the soundscape of this project is. And I think he does this in a good way, because he's intentional on the intro. He's not as aggressive as we get to Paraboy. You know what I mean? On G.O.A.T, essentially it's super sentimental, really length and really heavy on the violins, trying to like pull on some inspirational strings there and make the message very vivid. He's superly like he's motivated, and he's driven to get to as far as the Grammys as a reference. And he said, even when I win the Grammys, I still want to do more. I still want to achieve more. There's still a lot more to achieve. So essentially that's the push. That's the energy that is coming with on the intro. And I appreciated that, as opposed to just like going straight into the rowdiness. And I like that he kind of like cushioned it nicely with the intro. And then when it gets to Paraboy, then it goes off the rails. That's when you lose so many people. You're definitely losing a lot of people that don't really necessarily mess with this sound. And I can understand people not messing with it, because this is like, it's a wave. It's a wave. It might come to people very hard on. For to some, they might already feel that they are riding and be able to surf through the wave of this very roundiness, and for them to pick up for it. Pick up on the traditional links to it, I guess they can stomach it more. But to many people, to many mainstream ears, this would be a dud and something that they won't appreciate at all. But anyway, I appreciate the unapologetic aspect of his approach. He was very unapologetic about it and went straight deep into it. And shout out to him, credit to him for doing that. I'll give him that. But anyway, there were still duds. It's offbeats in many pockets. If you want to make it spoken word, I still believe it can be a lot more polished. It can get too rowdy, too crazy. But then again, that's his creative direction. It doesn't necessarily work for me all the way, because it can get too rowdy, man. Too rowdy. And I'm not always constantly on that energy. And I don't think, it was just too much. From track 2 to track 4, too much. Crazy. But there was a high point in Alaska. I enjoyed it more so for the introduction of the Arabic instruments, and everything just seemed a little bit more polished than the rest, but it's still in the same essence of the rowdiness that I don't necessarily appreciate completely, but I do appreciate the heritage of where it's coming from, and shout out to him for having the balls to do this unapologetically. And one thing I want to mention too is his lack of focus on the songs. Like sometimes he can lose focus on the song. He might be talking about one thing and then pivots to another thing. Again, it contributes to how crazy and chaotic the song can be, which is another thing that I don't even appreciate much more. Like that, at least if you want to be rowdy and you want to be crazy, be coherent with it, you know. But at some point, it just catches you off guard when you're talking about girl after you're talking about how much you love money or something, you know. So it's like, yeah, it's all over the place in that aspect, but it is what it is. Memory Card by Seyi Vibez, definitely a big ass ballsy ass statement he's making for his career. I think it's gonna pay off because he's setting a stamp in that sound, that momentum that Chance Naham makes. He's building on top of it, and I think it's gonna catch a wave. Definitely gonna catch a wave with a song like Paraboy or a moment like Alaska. I think it's very, very possible he catches that wave as Chance is doing what it's doing. I still think it's a niche sound though. I think it's a niche sound, and it will take a miracle for it to get to like a number 1 on turntable charts, because that would be wild. That would be wild. And I see his PR has been heavy. He's been super intentional. He's charged up. He's moving. He's doing all the right things. Anyone that is inspired and motivated to get to the top is doing. He's doing everything that he needs to do. But I think this kind of sound, it warrants all those marketing tactics and tricks. It really does. It needs that. It needs that to sell the narrative, because everybody's talking about him. Seyi Vibez is the talk of the town. Connect that to the Burner situation where he's getting a cosign from one of the biggest acts now, and I think he's gonna hop on a remix of Chance. The momentum is so much there, like it's there, and I think he's just feeding off of that juice, feeding off of that energy, and I think it's a good call for him to make as many or put out as much material so quickly now, because you never know. Ashake made it clear that putting out more material is always favorable in some sense, you know. But I think there's a nice balance. But I think in this case, he's doing it well. He's doing it well in terms of pacing himself, and I appreciate it. I appreciate what he's doing. Now, in terms of the sonic experience and how I feel about this project, it's nothing more than a 6 for me. It's nothing more than a 6. It's a 6 out of 10. It's not necessarily for me, but yeah. I appreciate where it's coming from. I'm just not a big fan of how unpolished it can be. I still think you can make it a lot more polished. But then again, he's making a statement. He's making that very clear direction for him, sonically and creatively. So shout out to him for that. I'm curious where you guys have it in terms of your list. Oh, people have it at 4. Now. Okay, like, I appreciate some things. I appreciate where it's coming from. I just feel like it doesn't necessarily work all the way for me. But at least I appreciate the ingenuity of it, the authenticity of it. You know what I mean? But anyway, it is what it is. That's your own point of view. But shout out to you. Relax ASMR said 3 here. Whoa, you people are not nice. Or says 4K. You people are mean though. When I'm here. Anyway, shout out to Ore, man. That was it, man. Seyi Vibez, Memory Card. I'm curious what you guys think about that song. I've been your boy, Emmanuel, aka palmwinepapi. And that's been Seyi Vibez, Memory Card review.